Dear Mr. Stroeven, please introduce yourself shortly and tell where were you born and raised, studied.
Okay. Now my name is Frans Stroeven. I'm born in the Netherlands, in Utrecht. It is a city in the middle of Holland. And I started martial arts when I was very young, 5 years old. I started with judo by Anton Geesink. I don't know, he was the first Dutch who was Olympic champion in 1964, I think, in judo. And from there I started met Wing Chun and met Jet Kundo and of course met Eskrima. You know? I learned my first Eskrima leraar was Bill Newman, Latose Eskrima, and I trained 8 years with him. I was his private student. I talk about a long time ago. It was in the 80s, and after that I went to the Philippines to learn there. You know.
And then you meet your future wife.
The first time when I went to the Philippines and I came in the headquarters from Dos Chaparros, I saw two people fighting with headgear and with sticks. And so the fight was really hard. And one guy get hit on his ribs and he stopped the fight and he puts his hands up that he surrendered. And I thought two men were fighting, but then one get the helm off and I saw long black hair falling. That was my wife. So she was the one who hit that guy really hard that he surrendered. And in that time, there was my first meeting with my wife, you know.
Mm-hmm. Tell please about your master, your first master, which taught your Eskrima.
My first master, you know, I was actually interested in Lacana, you know, Lacana, the French stick fighting.
Yeah.
But that was difficult, you know, and I read a book about Latose Eskrima made in Germany by Kernspecht, and that was actually my first contact. I wrote him, and in that time there was no email of it. No internet. So I wrote him a letter, and he was actually he was always in Germany. He's coming from England, Bill Newman. He was always in Germany to teach there, and that was my first contact with Eskrima, Bill Newman. He came to Holland to teach me private, and every 3 months, 4 months, he came to Holland to train me. You know, and that was actually the first time. In that time, I have no money to go to the Philippines or to go to USA. You know, because my dream was always to represent Danny Santo. You know,
yes,
my
sure.
dream. But in that time, I have no money for that. You know, to go to the USA. So I started with Bill Newman. That was actually my first Eskrima instructor.
We also have a few interview directly exclusive interview with Danny Santo.
Yeah, okay, it's great. Yeah, yeah.
Dear Mr. Stroeven, please tell us how is your system Eskrima different from other Eskrima, from other masters? Which main principle is difference?
You know, my system is really different. You know. It is more, in my opinion, it is more realistic. I make always contact, so I don't. What other people do with sticks, they hit the air. I want to hit you. You know, my system is more realistic, more harder, more aggressive, and I think that is the big difference.
Yeah, the big difference is that some of the Eskrima they are more in drills and they hit each other more the sticks, and then without the contact of the body, and also they also more same as in the Philippines, we are more focused on Eskrima as a sports martial. It's more on the art. Then that is the difference between what we do with France. Then we show it that Eskrima is not just only an martial arts that it is beautiful to see, it's just also effective for self-defense.
Yeah, my focus is on self-defense, you know, in a Stroeven Combat System, and I have my own let's say my own DNA. You know, I'm aggressive, only if I fight, of course. But if it's not, only when I fight, I'm aggressive. I like fighting, you know, and that is what you can see back in my style. You know, always contact. So you feel the pain from my stick. So that means if you feel no pain, there is no respect. So I give you some pain that you respect me. You know, that is actually the difference. That it is more realistic. What I'm doing. That is the same in my knife fighting and in my empty hands. You know, and I will not say that the other is not also realistic, but that is the way how I see it. That is the difference.
Yeah.
You can see if you see my clips and you see the clips from other people, then you see the difference and you see the focusing from me that I really like to hit that guy, you know, who is in front of me. That is also how we train.
How long does it take to become a confident user of the system Eskrima, as usual? I mean, when to able defend against attack on the street?
You know, the biggest mistake in the Filipino Martial Arts is that in the Filipino Martial Arts you start training with the sticks, because that is the oorsprong.
That is our
that is the history. Let's say before they train with swords. Now they cannot use swords anymore because too deadly. So they use sticks. But what you often see is that they train too much with sticks, and then they get a false self-defense idea that when they are in a fight in the street that they can defend themselves. But that is not true. You have to train your empty hands. We have the Pangamot, it's the empty hands, but most of the Eskrima is 90% is stick in the schools. And I don't believe in that. For me, the empty hands, because in the street I have no sticks with me. And normally you don't carry also no knife. You know, I know some instructors who I know also in the USA and so, they say to the students, okay, carry knives because you do Filipino martial arts. So, but I always say, no, we don't carry knives. We only borrow the knife from our enemy, you know, because you cannot kill somebody in a fight. You go for 20 years in the jail, you know.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So.
And the difference is that some Filipino always think that the sticks are the same as the translation of the empty hands, but it is totally, if you analyze it, it is totally different because the distance between the stick and the empty hands are not the same. So if you translated, so it's not the same actually because there's other hand will punch you to your face. That's what we try to explain to the other.
You know, the idea behind is very good. The Filipinos say, and that is why I like the Filipino martial arts, it's better if you are in a fight, it is better you have a weapon. That can be any kind of weapon. That can be a bag, that can be a pen, a telephone, whatever. But in reality, if you are in empty, if the fight starts and you start empty hands, and the fight goes so fast that you have almost no time to get a weapon. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and,
yes.
Yeah. So in my school, we have empty hands. The Pangamot is very important. It is coming from the stick and the knife, but it is a translation to the empty hands. But we do it different because we believe that the empty hands in the Filipino martial arts is very, very important. And the philosophy is still the same. If you start training in my school, you start with weapons. But the same day, we have a class for the stick, we have a class for the knife, and we have a class for the empty hands. So if you train by me, you will improve very quick because you train the three most important parts of the Filipino martial arts. The stick, that is the weapons. The knife, that can be any kind of knife. That can be a sword. Everything what have a blade. and the empty hands. Now, in the empty hands, we have the kicking, punching, elbows, the headbutt, the knees, the throwing, the dumok, we call it dumok. So it is complete. So actually, you don't need more. You know what I mean?
I see, yes. So as usual person coming from the street, yeah, which never using any martial arts, when he coming to you, which time approximately, I mean, 1 year, 2 years, 3, 5, 20 years, it's needed to hire some level?
Yeah, you know, of course, it depends on your skills. Eh?
Sure.
And it depends how many times you train. Like if you train in my gym 2 times a week and you train also in the house, yeah. But if you are a lazy student, they train only 1 time in a week and for the rest they don't care, and it takes longer. And so it depends.
And also you need to understand, because most of the time when we train the techniques, we also explain the movement and then how it is the principles. Then if you don't understand, then you don't really get the idea in the technique, and then it will be difficult for you to train again and again. But what we do, we try to do it again, and we have like techniques and training methods, and then that the people can use to it.
That is very important. But what I always do, let's say you're coming to Holland, you train in my gym. So I train you first technical, but then I start training the trainingsmethods. That means that the techniques what I teach you, you have to apply it in a real fight, not real fight, in a situation that somebody attack you. Then we will see if it fits to you, the technique. If it don't fit to you, that you really feel not comfortable with the technique, we change it for you. That you feel comfortable and that you can use it. That is actually the idea in my style. So the Eskrima van Leonora looks different than my Eskrima. The other students looks also different. So everybody gets his own way of fighting. But of course we have the same idea. We start with stick, we go to the knife, we go to the empty hands. Yeah, everybody knows that curriculum. But the only thing is you get things out what fits to you. Let's say if you are good with knife, you can focus on the knife, you know. And that doesn't mean that you carry a knife. I mean defense against a knife. But I believe if you want to defend yourself successful against a knife fighter, I believe that you have to learn how to handle a knife. Now,
yeah, sure.
To survive is big in a real confrontation. Of course, you have no guarantee, but you know.
So again, if you have as usual person with, I think, with a good skills maybe, and he going to the classes all time, 2 times a week, it's around how many hours your classes? 1 hour, 2 hours?
2 hours and 50 minutes. So we do 45 stick, 45 minutes and knife, and 45 minutes empty hands.
And like this person, all time coming in all classes, how many times he needed to be? I mean, some the basic skills, the basics, and don't be afraid to work with a knife on the street.
I'm telling you, it goes very fast.
Yeah.
If you see my students all around the world, I have students anywhere, they are really good. Of course, not everybody, but my top people in every country are really, really good. You see the difference with the Eskrima styles. Big difference.
I'm so sorry. For me, very fast, it's maybe 2 months. What do you mean very fast? 1 year or half year?
No, quicker. If I train you, you can in 1 month, if you have the skill and you are fanatic, I can teach you very quick and you will be already good. For me, if I teach you 1 month, I cannot disarm you anymore. If you follow my instructions and you get my ideas, I cannot disarm your knife anymore.
I see. Do you use some techniques or methodology to make your students stop being afraid of a knife when you're working in the classes? If yes, so which one?
Yeah, that is I think what we always use during the training, that people will not be afraid in using knives, that we have always like wall training, that people attack with the knife and the opponent will be in the wall, and then they protect themselves by the wall, and then with people, and then attack with the knife, and they try to protect and to disarm. But not most of the people can disarm, but we try to teach them how to hit back with the people who have knife. That is like the wall training, what you always
the
do.
wall training, that means with the back to the wall, that nobody can attack you in your back, you know, and on that way, that make also that you get some confidence, you know, and but we have a very good program for that. First, what we teach you is the numbering system, you know, how to attack, how to slice, how to step, you know, and then the blocking, and then there is no numbering system anymore. You can block any kind of attack.
What we also do is that people already know the attacking points, and now in the training we don't use the numbering system, so they can attack anywhere, so that the people, their eyes and reflection can be quicker than normal. If then in actual, if it is happen, you can use to it that if somebody attack you, then your eyes is used to it with different attack, and then your reflection is quicker than.
Yeah, because of the knife fighting, you build up your hand-eye coordination will be very good, because the knife goes very, very fast. And I believe also if you are a very good knife fighter, you're also good in empty hands, you know. And personally, I like knife fighting, because if I have two knives in my hands or one knife, because that knife can be any kind of weapon, you know, short weapon, a screwdriver, whatever. And knife fighting is also very important, because sometimes, you know, we have exercise that you do a sparring with a guy, and the guy have a knife with him, but you don't know where is the knife and when he get his knife. You understand what I mean? So that is also a realistic way of training, that we fight against more people. And
what we also try to do is that one person attack two knives, then you need to and then also sometimes the person attack with the knife and suddenly with the other hand punch you in your face, then you can build that with that also the training. We have that also kind of training.
Yeah.
If we have some person with some psychological locks, I mean, in our mind, like Bruce Lee says, yes, we have all problems in our mind, and he really very scary, and even if he saw, you can see this is knife, and he really scary and can even moving. Did you use some maybe practice for psychological practice? I mean,
psychological.
You know, honestly, maybe Dutch are crazy people, I don't know. But till now, I never get a student like that. Everybody likes knife fighting. You know, I did my last knife seminar. There was 145 people. People really love knife fighting, you know. And till I never had a student who is so afraid for a knife.
And some of the martial arts, and even other Krav Maga, I think other martial arts, they are using rubber knife.
Yeah,
they use rubber knife, but we use aluminum knife. That it is harder. That every time, if you don't block, if you don't do your angle, then you will be really stabbed in your stomach, or you will be. So you need to be careful to.
Yeah, I know. This is my. I also like training with the aluminum knife. It's much better. Like
rubber knives, they're not welcome in our school. Rubber knives, always aluminum. And of course, we cannot make it real, but we try to make it as good as possible. You know, do it. We don't do knife fighting only for self-defense, only because we love it, we like it.
Could you please tell the main basic principles of working with a knife with empty hands? I know this is a hard question, but
but you mean that if somebody is empty hands, fight against? met een knife.
Yes.
Kijk, the most important is that actually, if you have a knife, I don't have a knife, that I look already around, that I can get a weapon. But if I cannot get a weapon, you know, the Filipinos say run, hide, or fly. I say run, hide, or fight. You try to escape. Eh? If you cannot escape, you have to fight. So then what you try to do is you try to get any kind of weapon, even if you have your jacket or your belt or whatever. And you have to fight for your life and try to keep the distance. And if the guy is coming to you close, control the hand where the knife is, and don't let him go anymore, that he can pull back, you know, and then keep him close, and then use your knee, your elbows, your headbutt, whatever, you know. But the most important is that like I know out of experience that the knife fighting can be suddenly there. You start to fight empty hands, and suddenly there's a knife. And that is the most dangerous part actually for knife fighting. And you know, did you know that 80% of the knife fighting is surprise attack? You even don't see the knife, you feel the knife, but you don't see the knife. 75% of the knife attacks is on 1 meter on each other. Now, actually, that is logical because I want to stab you with a knife. It's close. But if you can avoid that, keep the distance, then you have more chance. And if you are if your enemy, your attack is close, you have to control the knife, that he cannot pull back anymore. And you have to be very, very aggressive, because with nice techniques and with no power and no not to be aggressive, you will be dying, you know, you will be in the hospital or worse, under the ground, you know. Knife fighting is very, very dangerous, you know. That is always what I tell the students also. Knife fighting, if somebody's really crazy and start stepping you and really want to kill you, you have a hard time to survive, you know. So you have to be also crazy, you know. You have to be aggressive and go to the eyes, go to the growing and hit them hard, you know, and hope you are good enough to survive. Yeah. There are no secrets, you know. There are no secrets. Techniques that can help you on that moment.
And what about protection yourself with a knife against on the street with a robber with a knife with a knife? I mean,
you know, if I have a knife, then
it will be nice.
I feel very comfortable. Then there is, for me, no problem. Even 5 people are standing for me, and I'm ready to fight. Then
the knife is really good.
Then
which part of the body you will cut or?
You know, that depends, because you know, I telling you, my personal knife is one side is sharp. You know what I mean?
Yes.
A friend asked me, Wing Chun teacher, he have the biggest Wing Chun organization in Holland. He asked me about my knife, and he asked me why. He said, my knife is both sharp. But you know, me, if there is a situation, I was in a situation that I get my knife because there was more people surrounding me. I get my knife, but the sharp, I put it inside. You understand what I mean? So that means that I'm not ready to kill you. I'm not ready to kill. I will only hurt you. But in the moment when I turn my knife and the sharp goes to you, that means psychological. I'm ready to do what I have to do. So if somebody in the night come in my house, then that is a situation. Let's say that is a situation that 3 people come in the night in my house. Then no hesitate. I have to do what I have to do. You understand? So that's why my personal knife is only one side sharp. Even I'm in a knife fight, I can still control. I can use the butt from the knife, the puño,
Mhm.
I can hurt you, but not kill you. If I turn my knife, I'm ready for everything. That is my own way of thinking.
Mhm. Yeah, I understand. Because really, you can kill anybody with a pen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
With a
Yeah,
usual pencil,
yeah,
with a
yeah.
key or anything
But
else.
you know, I think in your place is the same. If you read the newspapers, you read only about knife fighting. People stab, and so before there was a knife culture in the Philippines, but we have that also in Europe. You know, every year, today, I think today we had 2 knife incidents. One guy died, and one boy from 14 gets stabbed. And that is every day like that, every day. But still, I tell my students, don't carry a knife with you. If I know, I will be really mad. Because there's still no reason, because we still live in a very safe country. It is not necessary to carry a knife, you know. That you will be in a knife fight is very, very small. Yeah? Very, very small. But the chance if you carry a knife with you and somebody hit you in the face that you get mad and you get your knife, that is bigger. Yeah? And then maybe you do stupid things with that knife.
Dear Mr. Stroeven, could you compare, please, the students which come into you on your classes, I mean, for today and maybe 10 years ago or 5 years ago? Did we see some degradation or otherwise?
You mean
what's that? Can you describe it? The student from you from when they start, from some people who is training from 5 years.
Yeah,
10
you know,
years.
the evolution in Eskrima is also there. You know, let's say 10 years ago, we did more, I cannot say more, yeah, more art than now. You know, art in Eskrima. I don't know if you know what I mean, the art.
The art, it is more that we show like an arco, nice movement.
Nice movement.
Yes, sure, of course. It's all Facebook is just art.
Yeah. And now I changed that. It is more self-defense now. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was more the art, and it was not busy with self-defense, because you follow the Filipino masters and they were more busy with the art, and you know, especially the Dosha Paris. And when I step out of Dosha Paris, because our uncle, Diony Kinetti, was the head of Dosha Paris, multi-style. He just passed 3 months ago. He passed away. But I make it. What I say. I have training methods, and I make it more functional, more realistic. That is for me very important. And the art what we use, I call it functional art. So it still looks. If you see my movies, I think you like it or not.
Yes, I saw.
If you see my clips, and that is what I mean. It is effective, but it looks good also. That is what I call functional art.
What we also train, what the difference from France is that most of the time when the people attack, you attack and then you block. Then he is that before the block, he attack you already, he counter you already. You hit before, you hit in the middle, you hit after. So that is, then you, as if you doing the technique, then you try to hit so much as possible to the opponent. That is how he trained to the students also.
Let's say you attack me, I intercept your movement. I try to hit you before you hit me. I hit between and hit after. That is actually the philosophy, you know?
Yes, about philosophy. This is this is my last question. Which philosophers is the most favorite of you, and which philosophy you use in your training, in teaching?
You know, we are not really busy with that. No. I'm not really busy with that, you know, with philosophy and that kind of things. I'm more busy with you have to go down so quick as possible. that is for me really important. I'm not busy with other things.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah, that's
true. You know, some I think if you talk to Danny Santo, he can tell you beautiful stories, beautiful things, because he's Danny Santo. I'm not Danny Santo, you know. I did some seminars with Danny Santo, but I'm not Danny Santo. But for me, it's different. I grow up in a bad neighborhood, so I defend myself already when I was a young kid, and you understand. So my philosophy is to hit you as quick as possible and to protect my family and to help people to defend themselves also. That is actually my idea about that.
Yeah.
I don't have beautiful stories about that.
I see.
You see.
Because sometimes some people, let's say we have the different nationalities in our school, and some people are like really a professional and they have really no fighting spirit. So what we try to do is that to let them to get the fighting spirit, that when they are in the situation, in a difficult situation, they used to it, because in the training they have that already. Because what Frans always say, some students, if they train, if you go to the gym, they get the brain out and empty on the training. But what we try to do is that when you go to the gym, explain, and we try to let you understand what is in the training, and let it feel already in the situation in the gym, that it can be useful in the outside.